Thank you very much for inviting me to present at this forum. I'm very, very thrilled to be presenting with Sir, who is one of my research heroes. So I'm going to be talking about publishing your clinical research, take it on from where Sir stopped. So in addition to what Sir said about why publish at all, advancing science and growing your career, I think clinical research, you have to publish because it is honoring your participants. Patients give their time, their data, and their trust to you when they form part of your study, and publishing is therefore an ethical obligation on your part as well. And also, publishing clinical research leads to improved patient care. Published evidence is what changes guidelines and clinical practice at the bedside. So the publication pathway, there are 6 steps. You finish the science first of all, clean the data, do the final analysis, and decide what your message is going to be. Then you choose the journal, match the scope and the audience before writing. We'll go into this in some detail later. Then write and format the paper using the IMRAD structure and following the author guidelines of your selected journal. Then the submission itself with a cover letter and the correct declarations. Then your paper will go through peer review and revisions, which may be 1 round, 2 or multiple rounds, depends on your reviewers and your luck. And finally, with a bit of luck, it will be accepted. You'll go through the proofs, the copyrights, and then finally it will get published. This is the publication pathway of a generally lucky author. But before you write a single word, there are certain things you have to keep in mind. You must have your ethics approval and consent in place. Journals will ask for the ethics approval letter. They will ask for the reference. Some journals will ask for the actual ethics letter as well. Now, certain types of research like audits may not require ethical approval, but the journal, when they're trying to publish, might ask you for a letter from your ethical review committee saying that that particular study does not require ethical approval. So, depending on the type of study, most good journals will require you to the approval reference, ERC reference, or if the study was exempted from ethical approval, for the exemption letter. So have that in place before you start the study, get the ERC approvals through. And of course, informed consent in the case of clinical studies, informed written consent is better than verbal. Register clinical trials prospectively. I don't need to tell you this, absolutely essential before the first patient is enrolled in Sri Lanka. This is in the Sri Lanka Clinical Trials Registry. Agree on authorship early. Using the 4 ICMJ criteria, agree on who is an author and in what order the authors are going to appear. Sir mentioned the order of authors, how they should appear. Before the writing starts, decide on this. This is going to prevent a lot of heartache, a lot of bad feelings later if you agree on authorships early. Pick your reporting guideline. Consort for trials, Strobe for observational studies, Prisma for reviews, and CARE for case reports. Some journals, for example, BMJ Open, will ask you to fill up the reporting guideline when you submit your study. Some journals will ask you to adhere to the guideline when you're preparing your manuscript. So it's really important, depending on the kind of study you're doing, that you adhere to the correct reporting guideline. IMRAD is the universal structure of writing your manuscript. I stands for the introduction. Sir has already touched on this. the introduction, why did you do the study essentially? What is the research gap? What is the question you're trying to answer by this study? The aim of the study should be in that introduction. The objective, usually in the last paragraph, should be about 3 to 4 paragraphs. Not too much, because otherwise it gets boring. Methods, very important. What exactly did you do in enough detail so that someone else can repeat your study, can replicate your study? The results, what did you find? Tables, figures, and the text. The tables and figures don't need to be discussed in massive detail and everything explained in the text. Pick out what is important and explain that in the text, but do not make interpretations in the results. Results are just showing the results, that's it. Interpretation is in the discussion. What does it all mean? The discussion also usually follows a sort of a standard format. The first paragraph should give a sort of a summary of what your study found, a clear, concise summary. And then you move on to saying, this is what I found that are similar to what has already been found. And this is what I found that is not similar, that is unique to my study. And you're quoting other studies that are already available in literature to support your findings. Then you move on to your limitations, the strengths and the limitations of your study, and the implications of what your research means, what your study means, and your recommendations for the future. That is the standard format of the discussion. Again, about maybe 5 or 6 paragraphs, but this might change depending on the kind of study and the kind of journal. Remember, there are some important points. The title and the abstract matter a lot. A lot of people will read your study after they look at your title. So the title has to be descriptive enough to catch people's attention. And a lot of people will read only your abstract, including reviewers. So your abstract has to be very clear, very concise, and give all your findings very nicely, including your interpretation. So the title and the abstract matter a lot. Then we come to choosing the right journal. The scope and the audience. This Sir touched on a little while ago. Look at the main page of the journal. That will tell you the scope of the journal, and that will give you a very good idea of the audience that the journal is catering to. Does the journal publish your study type? And is this the audience that you're aiming to talk to? That has to be looked at very carefully, because it's absolutely pointless submitting to a journal that is not a good fit for your study. Indexing is really important. The main page of the journal will tell where the journal is indexed, Medline, PubMed, Scopus. Most universities request that you publish in indexed journals. Keep the metrics in context. Impact factor is not the only signal. Keep it in context, and the fit of the paper to the journal always beats just going for the prestige of the journal. Look at the speed and acceptance rates of the journal as well. How long does it take for the review? If the journal says it's a very short period, we will review your paper in 2-3 days and we will give you a decision, stay away from that journal. That's likely to be a predatory journal. You can't review a paper in 2-3 days and give a decision. That's not possible. Acceptance rates, most journals, it's less than 50%. Don't be discouraged by that. Some journals will say the acceptance rate is 10%. Doesn't matter. If it's a good fit, submit. It doesn't matter, but look at these metrics. Access model and cost, also very important. We have been upgraded from a lower middle income to an upper middle income country very recently. That is going to have consequences for article processing charges, because we are going to move into a different category in World Bank ranking. At the moment, we have 100% APC waivers in some journals, most BMC journals, and 50% in most others, because we go as a lower middle income. So, and research for life categorization. So check for the waiver in the journal that you're selecting. I would suggest shortlist 3 journals before you start writing. Select an ambitious journal, a good journal, really good journal, your dream journal as one. A realistic first choice, a realistic first choice. So that will be your backup, and a solid backup. 3 journals. That would be a really good idea. If this doesn't work, I have 2 other backups. So that would be a good idea to start with. And I really want you to be able to spot the red flags where predatory journals are concerned. I'm pretty sure most of you have already received these emails, flattering, unsolicited email invitations, esteemed Dr. So-and-so, asking for your esteemed research to be published in our esteemed journal. I'm sure most of you have come across this. Just delete that email. That's a predatory journal. Guaranteed acceptance, guaranteed peer review promised in a few days, predatory. Fees that are hidden or only revealed after acceptance. Fake or invented metrics, impact factor 5, 10, 15, 20. And editorial board members, sometimes fake persons, people who don't exist. A scope so broad that journal covers everything. I have received solicitations from journals, International Journal of Medicine, Surgery, Paediatrics, and Gynecology. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? So it's obviously predatory. So protect yourself. Check sites like thinkchecksubmit.org, the bealslist.net to identify predatory publications. Check the DOAJ listing and the COP membership of journals. These are all available online freely. Ask other colleagues and see whether the citations of this journal are actually available. When in doubt, ask a mentor or a librarian. So this is what you're going to need to submit as a package when you're doing an online submission. A cover letter. A cover letter should very briefly explain to the editors why your paper fits this particular journal. Very briefly, not in a very long way, but maybe a couple of paragraphs. Addressed to the editor, half a page. Always good to also include in that cover letter, if you have previously published a part of that paper, maybe as an abstract at a presentation, SLMA, CCP, whatever, if you have published as an abstract elsewhere previously, disclose that in the cover letter. That will prevent your paper getting rejected at the level of plagiarism checking. So it's important that you mention that. Abstract and keywords, according structured as required. And the keywords, these are important for discoverability, 3 to 5 keywords. So think of this very carefully and put the keywords in. The declarations are important, ethics, funding, conflict of interest, etc. also have to be there. Manuscript and the title page formatted exactly according to the author guidelines. Otherwise, your manuscript is going to fail the technical checks. And that's a nuisance. They'll keep sending it back to you saying, fix this, and you're going to get fed up with the whole thing. So format the manuscript exactly according to the author guidelines. Figures and tables, right format, right resolution, cited in order and placed where the journal asks you to. Suggested reviewers. Some journals ask you to suggest reviewers. Obviously, they have to be no conflict of interest there. Should not be your husband or wife or your best friend or colleagues from your own department. Non-conflicted reviewers, people who are researchers in that field, who are well-known researchers in the field, names, phone numbers, emails, if possible, local or international. So what happens in peer review? Your paper goes into this black box of peer review. You submit technical and plagiarism checks. The editor will triage. Quite a number of papers will get rejected at that level, but then they'll make it through to the peer review stage. 2 to 3 reviewers usually takes weeks, can take months. I have had papers that have gone for like 1 year and a few months also. And finally, you get the editorial decision after the peer reviews come in. So accepting as it is on initial submission, very, very rare. Minor revisions, super, excellent news, respond quickly. Major revisions, not bad at all. Still lot of chance of getting accepted. Do the changes, send back quickly. Rejection, very common. Way more common than getting rejected by your boyfriend or girlfriend. Very much more common. It's part of life and it's survivable. How do you respond to reviewers? Do respond to every single comment point by point. Do not ignore or skip inconvenient comments. Quote the comment, state your change, cite the line number and/or page where you have made the change. Some journals will ask you to highlight the changes you have made also. Stay courteous and thankful, always, even to the perennially rude and difficult to satisfy reviewer too. Disagree when justified. That's okay. Disagree. If you feel that a comment is not fair and you don't agree with it, disagree. But do it in a very polite, very civil way and give evidence why you disagree. And return your response well before the deadline. Do not take criticism personally or respond defensively. Okay. Do not claim changes were made when they weren't. Don't say things like, I have revised the discussion, I have revised the introduction when you have not done so. That's not good. That's not nice. Don't argue every point that the reviewers are making. Pick your battles. Pick out the ones that need to be argued and argue them. If you feel you're going to miss the deadline, most journals give 2 weeks or 4 weeks. If you feel you're going to miss the deadline, ask for an extension. That's fine. That's quite okay. But don't miss the deadline. Rejection is part of the process. More than 90% of submissions to most journals get rejected. And I think I have been rejected so many times. I'm sure even Sir has experienced. Most of us, we all have got plenty of rejections. That's part of life as an academic. Don't panic. Just take a break. Look at the rejection letter. Keep it aside. Don't panic. Just be calm. Go through the review comments very, very carefully. That is free expert advice. Use them to strengthen the paper. Move down your shortlist, go down to your second response. You have a second journal, backup journal, you have a third journal. Go down to those journals and make your changes and resubmit to one of those. That's okay. And don't resubmit without any change. Don't resubmit the same thing. Make the changes that the reviewer wanted and resubmit quickly. Common challenges that all of us face is time. We don't have time. Set aside a time. I find it easy to work early in the morning. I know some of you find it easy to work late at night, weekends, whatever. Set aside time. 1 hour, 2 hours. This is my writing time. Set aside time. None of us are native English speakers. We are using English as a second language. It's a problem sometimes to write in English. It's difficult for us. Ask a fluent colleague to review your writing. Use editing services. Use AI to review your writing. It doesn't matter. It's perfectly all right. Clarity always beats elegant writing when it's a science paper. Clarity is what is more important. Open access fees you can't afford. Ask about APC waivers, institutional agreements, and diamond publishing. Fee-free or online publishing, open access publishing. Check the grants and university APC refunds. There are grant portals. There is a grant portal in our university, in the Research Council. Look through that and see what you're eligible for. Small tip, if you just cannot get a refund, sharing a salary slip of yours, giving the current US dollar to rupee conversion rate and sharing a salary slip of yours always works, particularly with the way the rupee is depreciating, because people feel sorry for us and usually give a refund, a waiver. Authorship tensions in the team, as I told you before, agree on the roles in writing at the start of the project. And negative or null results in your findings, don't be disheartened. That's fine. It's still publishable, still valuable. Sometimes some journals actually welcome null results. And publication ethics are non-negotiable. No plagiarism. Don't even plagiarize your own writing. If you want to quote one of your own papers, make sure you paraphrase and cite properly. Don't duplicate and don't do salami publications. One research, one paper usually, but if 2 or 3, it's fine, but make sure it's not salami. You're saying the same thing over and over again. And never submit your same paper to 2 journals at once. Report your data honestly. Don't fabricate. Don't do selective reporting. Don't involve yourself in dishonest data reporting. Declare all conflicts of interest, financial or non-financial. Disclose AI assistance. There is no shame in saying you needed AI use to edit your paper to get some assistance in grammar and style, improving your style. That's fine. But you remain accountable. You have to take responsibility. AI is not an author. So my key takeaways would be: choose your target journal before you write, shortlist 3, follow the reporting guidelines for your study design, sort the ethics, registration and authorship out early, treat reviewer comments as free expert advice and rejection as redirection, use mentors, librarians, writing groups, whatever, because nobody publishes alone. Every published paper was once a rejected draft. Persistence is the key. Thank you very much.
We are coming to the end of today's session, so I would like to extend our extreme gratitude and appreciation to our esteemed speakers, Professor Rajitha Wickramasinghe and Professor Shamila De Silva, for generously sharing your expertise and practical advice on publishing research. And your instructions and the presentation would undoubtedly help many of us to improve the quality, visibility, and the impact of our research publications. And I would like to thank the organizers. Next, the Research Management Committee of the Faculty of Medicine and the Children's Pediatric Poison Information Center, as well as the Government Medical Officers Association. We had nearly 70 doctors attending today's event. And I would like to thank everybody who attended and actively participated in today's event. And we would like to come back with another academic session in the months to come. Thank you very much. Have a good day.